the title of the tutorial is From the Fundamentals to Recent Advances, a tutorial on key phrasefication. And first of all, I would like to say this tutorial is equally contributed by 3 researchers who have rich experience in this area of study. And maybe it's a good time for each of us to say hi to everyone. And my name is Raymond, and currently a research scientist at Salesforce Research. And Debanjan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. So my name is Debanjan Mahata, and I'm a director of machine learning in the predictive analytics group in Moody's Analytics. And I'm also an adjunct faculty at IIIT Delhi, India.
Yeah, Florian.
Hi. So my name is Florian Boudin, and I work as an associate professor at the Nantes University in France.
Cool. And also, I would like to thank all the friends, colleagues, students who have contributed to this tutorial, and all the researchers who are working on these topics. Without all those efforts, this tutorial wouldn't be possible either. Okay, so without further ado, I'll just quickly give you an overview about what this tutorial is going to be about. So we will walk you through the advance of the key phrasefication. So a research area has been developed since 1990s. And we will not only talk about the basic of this task, but we will also cover different automatic methods ranging from the traditional ones to the most recent studies based on deep neural networks. And furthermore, we will also offer some hands-on examples on the basis of PKE and the DLKP. So two cases we developed dedicated to the key phrase research and applications. So in that way, we hope it can be helpful for you to get some first-hand experience of the state-of-the-art methods. And also, it's worth noting that, as you can see here, all the resources, including the slides, code, maybe later on the papers as well as the recordings can be found in this URL, and you can scan the QR code to get the resources as well. And this information will be repeatedly shown along the tutorial, along the presentation. All right. So specifically, 3 parts of the contents will be talked about in this presentation in turn. And specifically, in the first part, we will cover the basics of this task, key phrasefication. We will be talking about the definition, evaluation, and the dataset. And then we will talk about the key phrase extraction and generation methods based on the deep neural networks. And in the last part, each of us will be presenting some recent research studies concerning some prominent problems faced in the key phrase studies. And so the first part, I will be talking about the introduction to this task, key phrasefication. All right, so what is a key phrase? I guess most of you are very familiar with the key phrase or keywords, since when we are submitting a paper to a journal or conference, the authors are often required to provide a list of key phrases. And in this case, we use the key phrases to describe the core ideas and characterize the contribution of the paper. But more broadly speaking, we argue that the key phrases can be seen as a special summary to describe any type of data. So the next question you may raise is, why do we need key phrases in our real life? So the short answer is, it's very handy for our human beings to express our information needs. So on one hand, we feel that the phrases are more expressive and more accurate than words or background words. But on the other hand, we feel it's more efficient to talk about our needs using phrases other than using sentences. And if phrases are equally expressive comparing to sentences, we would prefer the phrases since it's shorter and neater. Yeah. But there still exists a big gap between our needs and the huge amount of data in the real world, say on the internet. And sorry, got stuck a little bit. Okay, and at this time, we hope the data can be represented and aggregated in a way that is simpler and more understandable to humans, such as using text, labels, and categories, and all of them can be called key phrases. And apparently, dense vectors are not understandable to humans, at least not to me. So in this way, we can see that the key phrases are useful since they can work as an API or as an intermediate representation that helps humans understand and access the enormous amount of data. So for example, users can retrieve the data they are interested in by linking our information needs to the relevant phrases. In another case, users can also directly browsing or reading the key phrases extracted from the data to get a quick overview of the things that we are interested in. And the main topic of this tutorial, key phrasefication, is about how to automatically obtain the key phrases from different types of data. And as said, the key phrasefication, it can be defined as the general process of summarizing data with key phrases. And in a morphological sense, this word consists of two parts, where apparently, firstly is the key, which implies a crucial importance, and another part is the phrasify. So those two stems correspond to the two important properties that we care about in this task, which is the keyness and the phrasiness, which denotes the importance and how phrase-like a short text is. And in different contexts or applications, the key phrasification can be instantiated in different ways. And the most common instance is the key phrase extraction and generation. So in which case the source data is text. And in another example is automatic tagging or labeling. So in this case, the target phrase vocabulary is oftentimes fixed. And in the vision applications, object detection and image classification is another example of the key phrasification. And there are many other examples. But our major focus would be processing text. So generically, giving a piece of long text as input, the goal of the key phrasification is to utilize a model to summarize the content of this long text and express the core information in phrases. And this is an example of a news article and its corresponding key phrases from the KP Times. But what I would like to highlight here is that among all those phrases that are labeled by human annotators, some of them can be found directly from the source text. And we call those phrases that are extractable from the text as present phrases. But on the other hand, for the rest of them, which are also important and relevant to the text, but they are not directly extractable from the source text, and we call them absent phrases. So there's a line of methods called key phrase generation. It's specially designed to predict those absent phrases. And we will be discussing it in details later. All right, so the key phrases has been studied for decades, and also it has derived a wide variety of applications in the real world. And this is definitely not an exhaustive list of its applications, but we would like to show some typical applications that key phrases can be useful. So the first case is interactive document retrieval. So for example, here there are two studies called Frazier and Key Find. So they build the index based on the automatically extracted key phrases. And then the index allows users to interact with the document collection at the level of topics and enables functions like document clustering and query refining. And another example application is query expansion. So the key phrases is incorporated into the procedure of pseudo relevance feedback. So in this way, the original user query can be expanded and more relevant documents can be recorded and retrieved given those expanded queries. And the key phrases are also extensively used for document analysis. So if you give me a new document collection, the first thing I would possibly do is just to run the key phrase extraction and the topic modeling to understand what's the major topics are in this document collection. And we can also visualize the salient topics by the word cloud. And in another case, the key phrases can also be specific. So for example, in news articles, the key phrases would be the 5W1H, so which highlights the most important elements in this news article. And lastly, researchers also demonstrate that in some eye tracking studies, the highlighted key phrases and sentences can get users' attention and enhance their reading experience. Okay, and also our friend Mayank will also be presenting at the ECIR maybe later on, and he will talk about the application of key phrases in the industry, specifically at Bloomberg. So don't forget to check it out. All right, so that's the part of the introduction. And now I'll just hand the stage to Debanjan, who will introduce us about the datasets and evaluation in key phrase.